Today I'm going to show you my burn deck. It's doing pretty well online. It wins about 90% of the games. And let's just jump right into it. I have 3 Mecha Bunnies. When they're flipped face up, I select one card and I do 500 damage to the controller of that card. And then when they're destroyed by battle, I get to special summon one of them from my deck to the field in face down defense position. So they keep coming out, person will keep attacking them, they keep doing 500 damage. If a card and it's any card, so if a monster that your opponent has says can't be targeted by your opponent's effects, target one of their face down spell and trap cards. Of course, if they don't have any of that, and the only monster they have is the only card they have that can't be targeted, then you're going to target yourself if it gets flipped up, and you're going to take the 500 damage. But that's never happened. Next, I have 3 Giant Germs. When they get sent to the field, when they get sent to the graveyard from after battle, your opponent takes 500 points of damage, and you can special summon up to 2 from your deck in face-up attack position. In my first hand, if I have a Giant Germ and a Mecha Bunny, I will always pick the Giant Germ first, because they usually will only bring out, my opponent will only bring out one monster, they attack it, it dies, I bring 2 in face-up defense. They don't have any other monsters to attack me, so I'm not going to take any damage, and then I get to put them in defense on my turn. Next, I have 3 Des Koalas. They do 400 damage for every card in your opponent's hand when they're flipped up with their flip effect. And they have an 1800 defense, so they're always pretty good because usually the first monster somebody puts out, unless it's Cyber Dragon, is going to be maybe like a 1700, maybe 1800 defense. Attack monster. So this will do a little bit of damage or just stop their attack, and it'll just flip it up. But even if it gets destroyed, oh well, you still do damage depending on how many cards they have in their hand. My final monster is Stealth Bird. I usually don't put them out until I have Gravity Bind or Level Limit Area B out on the field, because I don't want them getting destroyed. When they're flip summoned, when I flip them face up, they do 1000 damage to my opponent, and then they have an effect where I can flip it back face down once per turn. So I can flip it up, and then, because it's flip summon, and then I can flip it back face down. And when they're not being attacked and these are on the field, it's a pain to the opponent because they'll keep taking 1000 damage unless they destroy it. Now for spells, I have Restructer Revolution. It does 200 points of damage for every card in your opponent's hand. It's really nice if you're going first and you have at least one of these in your hand, because you can right off the bat, your first card you play is this, you do 1000 damage right off the bat to them. It's really nice. The next card I have is Ookazi. I have 3 of those. They do 800 points of damage to my opponent, so those are nice. Then I have 3 Tremendous Fire. Now these do 1000 damage, but then also 500 damage to you. So it's good because it's only 500 damage, and with the amount of stall and defense monsters that you're going to have in the deck, that you're not going to attack with anything. Everything's going to always be in defense because they're going to get flipped and do damage, or die and do damage. So taking 500 damage from one of these really isn't anything. It's nothing bad. Then I have Lightning Vortex. Just if they start to get overwhelming and they've killed off all your monsters and you've got an open field, it's good to have a Lightning Vortex to just clear out their field. Level Limit Area B, of course, because it stops any level 4 monsters from attacking by putting them in. They have to stay in a defense position, so they won't be able to attack until they destroy this card. 2 Mystical Space, just clear their field to annoy them. Pretty much, I like to do that. 2 Book of Moons. Now these are good because I can either flip my own monsters down, like let's say I have Des Koala that survived a turn, they haven't attacked it or anything. I can flip it up, do the damage, book it, and to flip it back down, and then flip it up again if I wanted to do it, if I was going to kill them, or just set it for when they go to attack it. So that's always good. 2 enemy controllers. Basically, I'll flip up a Des Koala sometimes to do the damage, tribute it with enemy controller, take control of one of their monsters and attack them. That's like the only time I'll ever attack. Or just to slow them down, to stall them out by putting their monsters in defense. These are also good. 2 Dark Room of Nightmare. Dark Room of Nightmare does 300 damage to your opponent every time they take effect damage, not battle damage. And since I'm not attacking, doesn't matter. So anytime I do damage, it's an extra 300. It's continuous. They do stack. I can have 2 of them on the field, and it'll be an extra bonus 600 damage. I usually get them out pretty easily, so even though I only have 2 and I'm not running 3, they come out pretty well. Now, my next 2 cards are Giant Keto, the Cure Master. The only reason why I have these in there is because I don't have another Poison of the Old Man, which I want to get. I want to get 2 more Poison of the Old Man, and these can go out. But these give 1,000 life points to you. So if you are starting to die by any weird chance, you're waiting for a card to come out or something, these will help you stabilize yourself for a little bit. Then there's Poison the Old Man. This is an awesome card. It's a quick play, so let's say they go to MS, you can set it, and then right when they go to MST it, you can decide to activate it. And basically, you can either choose to do 800 damage to your opponent, or gain 1,200 life. So it's good. I usually always do the 800 damage, especially when I have Dark Room Nightmare out, because that does an extra 300, so it's 1,100. So they think they're going to destroy something good, and they wind up taking damage. That's the best thing about this deck. Scapegoats, just for stall. Swords, just for stall. Giant Trunade, that's basically for Des Koala and Restructer Revolution. Put all the cards back in their hand, that are all their spells and traps back in their hand, so you can do more damage. And now on for the traps, we have 3 Secret Barrels. They do 200 damage for every card your opponent controls. Means on the field and in their hand. So it's really nice when it's a late game. The game's going on. You've stalled long enough, and you've got the Secret Barrel down, and they go either they go to it, destroy it, and you can chain, or basically you just flip it up for game. It's really nice, especially when you got 2 down and they're not expecting it. Secret Barrel is one of the best burn cards out there. And I've got 2 Magic Cylinders. More, inflicts damage. Dark Room of Nightmare works with this too. So they hit you with a 2,400 attack monster. You Magic Cylinder it back to them. And you have Dark Room of Nightmare out. They'll take an additional 3, so they're taking 27. 2 Bottomless Trap Holes. Basically, I like to mess around with people, so that'll mess around with them pretty good. Get rid of some of their monsters that might stop your effects. Another combo I found was the Transmigration Prophecy. Basically with Mecha Bunnies and Giant Germs. What I like to do is, especially with the Mecha Bunnies, I'll set this trap when the last one is on the field and the other 2 are in the graveyard. And when they go to attack, when they go to select as a target, I'll put the other 2 Mecha Bunnies. I'll chain to them selecting the target, put the other 2 back into my deck, so that when this one gets destroyed, I bring out 1 more, then this one will get destroyed, I bring out the last one. So basically, they'll take more damage because they'll keep coming back out. Same thing with the Giant Germs, except for I don't really like to do it because they come out in an attack position. So if they're being attacked and they've got like 3 monsters on the field and I have 1 left, it gets attacked and I do it. The other 2 will come out in the attack position. They have 1,000 attacks, so they're gonna do some damage to me. Then I have Dust Tornado, just to destroy certain things, like even their Chain to their Royal Decree, just get rid of some stuff. Anything I feel like might mess them up, because some people like to have continuous traps. I take them out with Dust Tornado. It could be spells or traps too. I just like saying traps. Mirror Force, just mess around with them, kill their monsters, slow them down. Especially if I only have Stealth Birds out, Mirror Force will be good because it'll destroy their monsters from killing my Stealth Birds. Ceasefire. The only thing that I would do is, if I'm to play Ceasefire, I'll wait for, the only monster that won't work with Ceasefire is my Des Koala. So wait for Des Koala to be flipped and then chain Ceasefire, so you can do damage that way, because it's 500 for every effect monster on the field. The last card I'm going to show is Gravity Bind. It stops all level 4 or higher monsters from attacking, so it'll save you from your stealth birds getting destroyed. If they do Cold Wave, just to mess around with them, since you won't be able to burn them with any spells or anything, do Gravity Bind. People don't like it that much. And that's about it. That's my burn deck. It is 49 cards currently, but it works. I get everything out that I need, and 10% of the time I'm waiting for a burn card to come, but that has changed since I used to have 2 7 tools of the bandit in the deck, and I took them out because what I've realized is nobody's going to solemn anything I do. Since they're going against a burn, they're not going to want to cut their life points in half because they'll end up dying. So just rate it and leave any comments you have. Thank you.